You'll choose the date that you're wanting to view, and it'll pull up any appointments that you guys have for that day. In this case, you can see right here today, there's a company test account. We can select on it, and it pulls up the information for that job. And it provides you everything you should need to see. Now, initially, it'll tell you right here who the partner company is that we're working with. That would be Monotronics, Safe, whoever it is we're working with. We signed a new deal today with another company to do work. They're called American Defense Systems. So if you're doing work for them, that name would appear right there, whoever it is. The job instructions right below that it's going to display are the job instructions that basically they're kind of a default instructions, and they're dependent on the third-party company. So if you're if you're doing it for Monty, the same notes will always appear in the job instructions for Monotronics. That's where we're going to give you the company's phone number, the close of the job process, authorizations, that basic detail that you need for the job will always appear right there in those job instructions. Below that, you notice it says monitored by. Monitored by should be where you guys are able to reference for who the monitoring company is. So if you're doing a job for Safe and it's monitored by CMS, it should say CMS right there. But if it's monitored by Safe, then it would say Safe Security. So it's important to pay attention to who the account is monitored by when you're looking at the account, making adjustments to a customer's account, putting it on test, so that you hopefully can avoid having anybody show up to the house or any false alarms. Below that, it's going to show the appointment time, who the technician is that it's assigned to. In this case, it's a test tech. The duration of the appointment, which can range anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, depending on what you're doing. And so we try to make that information accurate for you on your job, so we schedule adequately and don't overbook you for appointments. Below that, you see a section here that says notes. It says schedule created for ticket 2257. So in this case, 2257 would be the job number that you would be working on today. That is going to be the ticket or the ticket number that scheduling is going to want you to provide to them if you're calling in with questions on the job. If you're looking for that job on your pay report, that ticket number is what's going to display. So the ticket number is very important. You guys need to pay close attention to that and make sure that you keep track of that just the same way you guys used to keep track of a job number, so that everything is tracked properly. We don't miss anything for you. And again, making sure you guys are effective in what you're doing on the account. Now, in this initial screen, again, this is what always populates when you guys open up a job for the first time, and you're going through it when you arrive at the house. When you get to the house, guys, it's important that you click the Arrive button. You shouldn't just go through the job and do things and hit Arrive and Depart at the end of the job. You need to hit Arrive as soon as you get there. Now, by hitting Arrive, the button will automatically change. It'll say Depart, so that when you're done at the end of the job, you hit Depart, and it's going to record the time you arrived on site and started working and the time you left. That information is really important for a lot of reasons. It's important for customer no-shows. If a customer isn't there and you wait around for 20 minutes, that's proof for us and for the third-party company that you were actually on site for 20 minutes, that you didn't just show up and leave and move on to the next place. So Arrive and Depart, using that button when you arrive on site and you start working is really important. So please make sure you guys are using the Arrive and Depart button on every single job as you're working. Next thing down below is the ticket details. The ticket details just basically gives you, again, the name of the customer that you're working with. And then below that, it'll be the work order or the customer number, which is important for the third-party company, and then also the work order number. The work order number is basically the third-party job number, so make sure you guys pay close attention to that, because when you're calling Safe or Monotronics or whatever company, they're most likely going to want you to reference that number. Down here below, you'll see note and subject. Note and subject is the actual job notes from the scheduling agents. They'll go in and put those notes in on each job that will give you specific details related to what's expected for the service appointment or the install. So pay close attention to the subject and the note that is down below in that section there. We have customer note tags, which are basically tags that we apply to the job that just give you additional details on the account, system type, other things like that. And then below that, personal information, the customer's address, phone numbers, contact information, best time to contact, all that kind of stuff. If you guys have a customer no-show, it's expected that you guys contact the customer and do your best to call through all these numbers and try to reach them. If you're not able to reach the customer, what we want you to do is we want you to call into scheduling. That same 20-minute time frame applies to you guys. So it's beneficial for you guys when you get on site and the customer's not there to call into scheduling, let them know, hey, the customer's not here. Knocked on the door, they're not answering. I'll wait around for 20 minutes. If the customer doesn't show up or you don't hear back within 20 minutes from anybody, then, call back into scheduling. And the important thing is that you guys do not close the job. We don't want you closing the job completely out. What we do want you to do is we do want you to hit arrive and depart when you get to the house. That's going to track when you guys have arrived on site and when you've left the house, so that when Safe or Monty or whoever asks us, hey, when was he there, we have accurate information based on what you've entered in on your phone. So please still arrive and depart on customer no-shows. In the future, the system will automatically be able to do a geotag based on your location so we can actually prove to Safe and say, yeah, our tech was here. Here's his tag showing, exactly where you were. Just so that there's never any questions on integrity and you guys actually being there.
Hey, dude, just to clarify for the group,
Yep.
There's no circumstance where tech should not hit arrive. So on every job, no matter what, every time when they pull up, they should be hitting arrive. Correct?
They should hit arrive as soon as they get to the customer's house, and if it's a customer no-show, they'll depart. But scheduling, the only difference between a customer no-show and a regular job is you do not hit the complete job button on a customer no-show. And the reason for that is because scheduling needs to close out the job, and they need to put a special tag on the account that indicates that it was a customer no-show, so that you'll get paid that money for the customer no-show. So you'll still need to turn in a work order for it like you normally do, all that kind of stuff for the customer no-show. But there's a tag that scheduling will place on the job indicating that the customer no-showed us, and then they'll create a new job so we can go back out there again, and you'll get paid for going back out there again when we reschedule the appointment. So yes, Dennis, you're right. Arrive and depart should be used every single job, no matter what. The only time you hit complete job, though, is when you're actually done with the job. You've completed the job. So a customer no-show, don't touch complete job. Also, if you have a job where you need to, have a return trip, you would still hit arrive and depart. But it's important for scheduling to close out that job. You need to add all the equipment on there that you used on the job while you're on site. But let's say there's a return trip and Monotronics authorized us to go back. We want you to be paid for that, so we need to create a new job for that. And so we don't want you to just close this job and we forget to reschedule it. We don't even know we need to reschedule it until you call us. So it's important for you to call back in on that as well. Notify us. Scheduling will close the job out, but you can hit arrive and depart and add in any equipment that you installed. You can hit complete job if you actually completed the job and you did everything. But if there's something you're going to have to go back for, it's absolutely necessary that you call scheduling and let them know so that we don't have any problems with rescheduling the customer and getting them taken care of for whatever remaining services are needed for that house. So any questions on that, guys? Okay. The next step, guys, and this is the most important part of the service appointment, besides closing out the job, you guys need to make sure your equipment is accurate on every single job. It has to be accurate. Now, our scheduling team, when they create an appointment such as this one that we're looking at, they automatically add equipment to the job based upon what Monotronics, Safe, or the customer has told them that they're in need of. So in this case, this customer is in need of a 2 gig door window sensor. Now, if I get to the house and I find out that the customer we didn't need a 2 gig door sensor, maybe it was a GE door sensor we need instead. Well, we need to remove this door sensor off the job. If we leave it on there, that door sensor is going to be deducted from your inventory. Even if you don't have it, it'll be deducted from your inventory. So you'll go from a status of having 0, and now you have a negative inventory, which is it's not good. We don't ever want anybody to be in the negative. And so you get to the house, you didn't use the part, you'll select the part, open it up, and then you'll choose delete. By selecting delete, that will remove the part from the job completely so that when you go back to the other screen there, you can go down to the equipment and again, you'll see that it's not there anymore. It's not going to be deducted from your inventory and you won't have any problems. It's absolutely important that you guys add or remove any equipment you used or did not use on every single job. that's one reason that we're going to be able to go away from doing weekly cycle counts, and we'll be able to go to doing it once a month, or even as often as once a quarter. It could be once every 4 months if we can get good enough at this. But we need you guys to be accurate with your equipment on every single job. This includes adding in batteries, door sensors, adding in whatever it is that you've used on site. If you used a battery, make sure you select that battery, put your quantity in that you used, and save that to the job. You don't need to put an item charge, a zone, paid, yes, no. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to put the part you used and the quantity. It's important to notice as well that only items you've counted in your stock are going to show up available for you guys to be able to count and add those to the job. So if you haven't counted something accurately, or you haven't received a part in Security Trax that was shipped to you, it's not going to show up as available in this drop-down list down here. So it's absolutely crucial that you guys receive those parts, add parts, remove parts from things, so you again, the equipment you need is available for you when you're closing out the job. So in this case, I'm adding a battery, a AA battery to this job, just one. I'll save that, and it automatically takes me back to this screen so I can add another part. So I can say, okay, I added a AA battery, but I also installed a door lock. So here's the door lock. I installed one of them, and I'll hit save on that. So now, okay, I didn't save it because I didn't mark the correct tech. So I'll save that. There we go. I'll go back to the job. If I come back to the job and check the equipment, I can now see that the door the door lock and the AA battery have been added to the job, so that I can easily go through and have things deducted from my inventory correctly. I don't have problems. Again, this is going to make sure that you guys have everything that you need every single week. You don't have to place orders anymore. This eliminates all of that by you adding equipment to the job, removing it from the job, and doing your accurate physical counts. Again, for right now, it's once a week, but very shortly, we're probably going to change it to once a month, or even less frequent than that. One second. Okay. So any questions on adding or removing equipment from a job, guys? Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions, let me know. We can go back through things, but adding equipment is absolutely important. Please make sure you add and remove parts on every single job that you're working on, every single time, no exceptions.
Hey Dave, I do got a quick question. In the case like here, you added a battery. Now I know for instance, the battery is it's a two-piece, pack of two or something like that. First question: are we to be putting any kind of pricing in there? And also, like I said, the part number actually shows that it's a pack of two batteries. So would we have to deduct two for our inventory, or one? You kind of follow me there?
Yeah. So in this case, the AA batteries, you should be counting them as separate. So each individual battery should be its own battery, even though it comes in a 2-pack or comes in a 6-pack. Even if you get it in a 12-pack, we want you to count them as an individual battery for your stock.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just kind of confused because on the parts list, it shows $11.93 per pack two. So I was just kind of wondering if we're counting them singly or by the pair.
Exactly. Yep. We want to count them individually. So, and that goes for all your parts.
The other question: are we to add any kind of pricing on that screen there, or just leave it blank? Is it just for inventory purposes only, and then the pricing is just for paperwork?
Yes. So the pricing, you actually will not need to add any pricing into Security Trax. Security Trax automatically knows what the parts are. So the price of the parts. So you don't need to worry about that at all. Just make sure that you add the equipment to the job. Make sure you fill out the work order correctly, and it takes care of the rest for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Great question. So that's the basic information, guys, here for a job. Again, it's pretty simple. The most crucial part is that you guys know where the notes are. You know what you guys need to be doing on each job. You know what equipment is supposed to be added. Make sure you double check the equipment every single time. Check it when you get there. Check it when you're done. Make sure you remove anything that shouldn't be there. And then when you're done, depart from the job and complete the job, and then you can move on to your next service job or install. I'm not going to go through the arrive and depart and complete job process today, just because this one job I'm going to use for a couple other webinars I'm doing tonight with other techs. But you guys already should know that process, as you guys have gone through it plenty of times yourselves on your service jobs and installs. So make sure when you're doing the complete job process that you do enter in the confirmation number for Safe or Monotronics. If Safe, if you talk to someone at Safe, I would say just ask them for their agent ID and their name and put that in the confirmation for Safe. If you don't get a hold of somebody, you happen to get a voicemail, just put down got a voicemail when I called Safe. And we'll make sure that information is recorded in the system. So if we ever have to reach out to Safe and they say, oh, the tech didn't call in, and we can say, no, he actually left a voicemail with you, or he talked with this and such agent, so that things are always tracked properly and you guys don't have any problems at all. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions on the job, information on the job, closing the job, adding equipment. Any other questions, guys?
I just wanted to reiterate, guys. I know a few people have asked the Safe confirmation they don't get one or whatnot. So just to reiterate what Dave said, just get the agent's name and ID and put that in there. And then again, if you called and didn't get a hold of anyone and left a voicemail to close the ticket, just enter that in. Just wanted to reiterate that.
Perfect. Thanks, Dennis. Okay, if there's no other questions, guys, I'm going to move on over to inventory. Inventory, guys, is the next big part of what you guys are doing with security Trax. A lot of you guys have already done physical counts. All of you guys really should have done physical counts already in the new system, and you'll be doing that again for the next week or two each week. We need you guys to do that each Saturday night after you're done with all your jobs. Just go through and count everything and make sure that it's accurate. So there's a few key pieces with your inventory when you're doing your physical counts that we want each of you to remember each time. First of all, go in and select Perform Physical Inventory. And when you do, you'll initially notice that it automatically populates anything that it knows you have on hand. So in this case, it sees that I have an outdoor fixed camera, AAA batteries, a transformer, and a translator. It doesn't tell me how many I have, but it knows that I have some on hand. So I go through and I just say, okay, I have 10 and I have 1, and I counted 3 Honeywell transformers and 2 of these translators. Now, if there's more parts that I have, it's important for me to go out and search for those parts and find the additional parts that I haven't provided account for. So I put the accounts in for those initial things that I show that I have on hand. It's important for me to go out and search. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. One is you can say, okay, I'm doing a door sensor, so I'm looking for a door window sensor. Okay, look, here's the door window sensors, and it's a GE door sensor, and I have 18 of those. So I'm counting those. Well, and you can do that, and you can search for the specific part that you want to search for. That's somewhat easy. Some guys really like that. The other option, guys, is that you can just put a period in the search bar, and it will populate every piece of inventory that we offer that our techs can have on hand. And that may be much easier for you to just go through this list and find the parts that you're looking for. You'll notice as you're going through the parts, they're separated by the system type, 2 gig in this case that I'm looking at. It tells you what the part is, and then it tells you the part number. So you can pay close attention to that, and it should hopefully make it easy for you guys to identify the parts you're looking at. If we scroll down, we'll see there's 2 gig. We see ADC, which is alarm.com camera. It's an indoor pan tilt. We put our quantity in. Batteries, it says BATT for battery. Contact. This is one thing that's really important that I can tell you nobody in the company has done this right. Not one person. And I think part of the reason of that is it's my fault. I didn't communicate very well with you guys on this. But we need you guys to count on every single job and every single physical count, everything you have. And that includes your wire leads. If you have 10 wire lead contacts, we need you guys to count those. We need you to count the magnets that you have for the bar magnets and wire leads. It's absolutely important for you guys to count each and every single one of those. Now, there should be 1 magnet to every 1 wire lead. So when you're counting a contact and you put 1 in there, we're assuming you have 1 contact, which would do, basically you could install a door sensor and have a magnet and the wire contact for it. That's what we're looking for. So we need to ask that all of you guys go through this week when you do your physical inventory and you count your wire leads. And the reason we ask that is two things. One, we can bill for those things. You guys should be putting those items on your work order. When you're billing Monotronics or Safe or any third-party company, you should be putting that wire lead on there because we can actually bill them $1 per one. Actually, more than that. It actually costs us $1 per lead. So we can actually bill them like it's like $1.20 per lead that we use. So we're not eating that expense when they'll actually pay for it. So one, you guys should be putting those on the work order. But two, as you guys use those and you add them to the job when you're closing the job on site, it'll automatically deduct from your inventory and it'll automatically replenish your wire leads as you use them. So if you run out of wire leads, you shouldn't because you've been counting things and adding them to the jobs correctly each and every time. So again, wire leads need to be counted in your physical inventory. Please make sure all of you guys count those this week. And make sure you add them to the jobs and add them to your work order that you're filling out and turning into the paperwork team.
Dave, if I could just add to that. I know, guys, it may seem a bit tedious to go in and count wire leads. I know we have never had to do that, but if you think about the fact that we're able to bill third-party customers for those leads and get a little bit of profit going, and in the future, with accounts coming once a month or once per period, it will help increase revenue for the company. And down the road, we can use those funds to go back into you guys' hands in one form or another. So it may seem a bit tedious, but in the long run, it's going to be very much worth it.
You're exactly right, Dennis. I mean, as you guys do this and we get better at it and we're billing on every single thing that we can, not only does it benefit us as a company, but it benefits you guys as well because we want to, in the future, guys, so we want you guys to have vehicles. We want every single one of you guys to have insurance. We want all of these things for all of you guys. And we're working on it. We're actually working on trying to find multiple ways of doing that. But one important part and piece to that is exactly what Dennis said, and that's making sure we're capitalizing on every little piece we can with the third-party companies that we're working with. So if we're using a wire lead, we need to bill for that because that essentially enables us to come back and offer those things to you guys in the future, which is really what we want to do. So great point, Dennis. Thank you. So again, guys, just go through this list and count every single item that you have. One other important thing I want to note when you're counting your physical inventory is in the on hand, there's a search and there's on hand. If anything shows up in on hand and you do not have it in your stock, make sure you enter a 0 in there. The reason for that is if you don't enter a 0, the reason it's showing in the on hand is the system thinks that you have some. So if you don't have any, make sure you enter 0 in that field, and that will make sure that it deducts it from your inventory and doesn't show that you still have one on hand, if that makes sense. We don't want to have a scheduling error because an agent thinks you have something. So in this on-hand section here, make sure that there's an item. Hey, I don't have any outdoor fixed cameras. I actually have 0. Make sure that's the information that you put in there when you go through and review and save your physical count, and that will make sure that we know exactly what you have and can avoid any scheduling errors and stuff like that for you guys on your part. So please make sure you guys do that on each job. Now, once you've gone through and you've counted all of your physical inventory, all your door sensors, wire leads, your garage tilt sensors, translators, whatever you have, every single item must be counted. It's important for you guys to go back and review what you show you have on hand, and then when you're done, you hit save. Saving it will save that on that physical inventory count, and then our inventory team can go through and review and say, okay, he has this, he has that. This looks right, this looks wrong, and begin working on restocking you guys if things were off for whatever reason. I want to make sure that you guys are aware that we do not want you guys losing any inventory. So we need you guys to be very careful with all of your stock. Make sure that you are keeping an eye on it and treating it like it's money. If you guys are losing lots of equipment, you're going to most likely be charged for that inventory. Now, we're not planning to charge you guys this month and say, okay, tomorrow you lost something and so you're charged. But we are going to implement that here in the near future because our visibility and your visibility within Security Trax should be flawless. You guys should be able to easily see what you have on hand, use that equipment, and close out jobs and and everything. So it's important that you add every piece of equipment you use to every single job. Make sure you do your physical inventory counts right. Make sure you remove jobs off the job. If there's a job that it has a door sensor on there but you didn't use it, make sure you remove it. All of those things are important because if you're not putting it on there, that means we're not billing a third-party company, and if the equipment's going lost, we need to be able to charge somebody for it. I do not want to charge any one of you guys ever for anything. I would hate to have that happen, but you guys need to understand that as a company, there's a lot of expense out there. And a lot of you guys have close to $10,000 of inventory in your hands at any given time. And so we don't want to lose any of that inventory. And we don't want to charge any of you guys for the inventory. So that's why I'm trying to stress the importance of you guys counting every single item, add every single item to every job, or remove items you didn't use from a job so that things are correct, so nobody gets charged, and things run smoothly long term for everybody. Again, that's part of the reason we're doing physical counts every single week for the first couple weeks. We want to make sure that we get everything 100% before we implement something like that, and we make sure that everything is 100% accurate. So please just work with us on that, guys. Make sure you're counting everything accurate. Don't let something just, oh, it's not a big deal this time or whatever. Make sure you count every single item. We bill on every single item. We put them on the work orders, and we avoid any potential issues there. So that is very crucial, guys, for every single job. So as far as your physical counts go, when you're done, you'll go ahead and hit the save button. That saves what you have on hand within the system, and now Security Trax knows, okay, he's got all of this equipment. He's great. He's good to go. We can schedule these jobs. There's another important part that a lot of you guys have been missing as well. This first week with Security Trax, we shipped out quite a bit of equipment to all of you guys. You guys may have got random equipment that you weren't expecting, and that part of that's because of your counts. You counted items and maybe didn't count things accurately. We showed you had none, and we wanted to make sure you were replenished to where you needed to be. So if you guys got any shipments this last week, and you're like, hey, what the crap am I getting this for? It's probably because your counts were either off or we didn't have an accurate count, in the system. So we shipped that stuff out, or you didn't count something right. So with each of you guys will be receiving shipments both from corporate and from third-party vendors such as ADI and Triad. Now, as far as orders go, anytime you guys receive a shipment, you actually need to go into Security Trax and receive that shipment. And there's two ways to do that. You're going to have inventory transfers where equipment is being transferred to you from corporate. And when those shipments come to you, you guys can usually tell what those are because they're coming in a used box. They're not very clean, nice, easy for you to read or work with. And so the boxes themselves may not look great. You open them up, and the door sensor will be fine inside, packaged up, looks good. But the outside box, you can tell it's a used box from a different shipment or something like that. A third-party shipment is going to come to you. It's going to have a PO label in there. It's going to have a breakdown of everything that was shipped. You'll be able to tell that it's coming from somebody else. And so for the ones that are coming from corporate, you'll go in and you'll select transfers under My Inventory. And for those transfers, you can go there and you can see inbound transfers and outbound transfers. Inbound transfers basically are transfers that are being shipped to you by someone else, whether that's a tech. You met up with a technician. He gave you 4 door sensors, and he transferred those from his stock by creating a transfer to you, or an outbound transfer where you're sending a transfer off to somebody else. So in this case, we've got 4 inbound transfers here coming into me, to My Inventory. It looks like from corporate, I can see here I was shipped 2 AAA batteries. So if I click on the part here, what would you like to do with this transfer? Accept or reject? Well, in this case, hey, I need these batteries. I want to go ahead and accept them. So if I hit accept, it's going to add those batteries into my stock. Now, and again, for the purpose of not messing up our corporate stock, I'm going to go ahead and reject this transfer because I don't want to mess up corporate's inventory because these are actual real transfers we're seeing. Yeah.
Go ahead and accept it, and then you can transfer them back to me.
Okay.
Show them how to do an outbound transfer.
That works. So guys, in this case, we've got an inbound transfer. I'll go ahead and accept it here. So we hit accept, and then that now is removed from my transfers that I need to receive. I'm basically acknowledging that I got everything that I was supposed to get. If something's ever wrong or off, definitely contact us. Let us know. You can, whatever we need to do. But that's how you would do that. So you just accept the transfer. Now, in the case of sending a transfer back to Steve, or let's say you're giving equipment to another tech, you would need to create a transfer anytime something like that's happening. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and choose the batteries or the parts that you're transferring. So let's say AAA battery. Recipient is going to be corporate. Where is that at, Steve?
They're down on the bottom.
Is it? Okay, there we go. So corporate, you'll select corporate or wherever you're transferring to. So if it's going to me, you'd select Dave Hansen is who you'd select that it's being transferred to, and then you'll choose the quantity. So I'm transferring back to corporate 2. We'll go ahead and hit transfer, and that outbound transfer has now been created, and I can see that on here. This was transferred. I can see that it's pending, which means that Steve hasn't received it yet at the corporate office. If you guys are ever shipping things back to corporate, this is something that materials could request for you to do. They could request that you create a transfer before you ship that item. So it's very important that you guys understand how to create transfers and or receive transfers when shipments are coming to you guys to your homes. So do you guys have any questions on how to create, receive, or anything like that with transfers on your stock? Okay. I need each of you guys to go through your mobile app tonight and check to see if you have any inbound transfers to you. If you do, make sure you go through and you accept them if you have received those parts. If you haven't received them yet, definitely don't accept them. But if you've got those parts, you need to make sure you accept those. And what that'll do is it'll automatically add that into your physical inventory, into your equipment. So Security Trax will know that you have that inventory now on hand, and we can schedule jobs for you because you have that part that maybe is needed on a particular job. Now, the other thing, guys, that's important is purchase orders. Purchase orders, again, as I mentioned here, it's going to show where things are being transferred to you from. In this case, this is a purchase order from TechForce National. You may see ADI, you may see Triad. It's important to pay close attention to the details when that inventory is being shipped to you, and pay close attention to who it's coming from and what inventory is inside. You may have multiple shipments at any given time, and so it's important to make sure you go through and receive the right stuff. So in this case, on PO number 108, I'm going to look through here, and I can see that I was supposed to get 2 smoke detectors, 2 touch screens, 1 GE translator, 1 GE translator, 1 hardwire translator, and a transformer. Now, when I opened my box, I went through here, and I actually only received 1 GE smoke detector. And as far as the touchscreens goes, I got both of those, so that was good. Honeywell translator, I got that, so I'm good. Hardwire translator, again, I'm going to mark that as received. I got that. And then my transformer here, I only received 2 transformers. Those inventory guys must have been counting pretty weird when they were shipping this to me. So I put that in, and you can notice here that I have 1 of 2, 2 of 3. It's important that you guys update the quantities on what you have received on a particular purchase order so that we can know. We can go back to the vendor and say, hey, we ordered 3 door sensors and you only shipped us 2. We don't want to pay for 3. We only want to pay for 2 because that's all you received. And so it's really important for you guys to go through and adjust those quantities. Again, that will update your stock within Security Trax to show that you have the equipment. You can't just assume that I'm going to go do this job today and it'll automatically know that I have it because I'm going to add it to the job. Again, that's incorrect. It can take you into a negative quantity on that inventory. So you need to make sure you come in here and you receive every single item that was shipped to you, so we know that you have an accurate count, and things are good as far as your purchase orders go, or your transfers that have been sent to you from corporate or from another location. So can I get a commitment tonight from everybody that all of you guys will log into Security Trax and check out the mobile site, go to your POs and to transfers, and make sure that every single one of your transfers, if you've received them, are received, and your purchase orders, go through and say, yeah, I got 2 door sensors, I got this, I got that. Make sure it's right and save those updates. Will everybody commit to do that tonight?
Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I I hope all of you do. Dennis, I'd ask that you'd follow up on that as well. But we need each of you guys to go in there and check. Again, if there's a PO in there that you haven't received, don't receive it. But if you have got that stock, you know you got that shipment, please make sure you go and receive that stuff so we can have an accurate count within the new system. So there we go. Now, Steve, I'm not going to save these updates here for this PO unless you want me to, because I don't want to have to worry about transferring these back to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, actually, let's do. Go ahead and save them.
Okay.
Because that's an important, and I'm glad you waited to do that, because we have had other techs get to do this very hard, and it doesn't show that you received anything on my end. So go ahead and save, even though it's a partial. This way I can check our end too.
Okay. So guys, again, to Steve's point, make sure you hit the Save Updates button when you go through and receive any POs or transfers and stuff like that. Save those updates, and then that'll log that you've received part of that shipment or none of that shipment in the system. So,
now, Dave, why don't you go back into 108, because there were 2 items that were back ordered.
Yep.
And you see that I can't see the end of your screen, but let me see. I go there now. I can't. All right. So notice, see, all those are green. The green bar, that means it's totally received. On my side, as I click on this PO, I see it closed, but it's not fulfilled. Meaning you haven't received it all. So I know that you haven't received it all too, so I can help you to follow up on it. But let's go ahead and just receive. You just got another package. You open it up, and now you have the rest of the shipment. So let's receive those other 2 items real quick.
Okay, so now I've got those things for this PO, so I'll come in and receive them now. So that one's good, and this one's now good, so they're all completed, and I'll save that as well. So now that purchase order is complete, and you notice, guys, now that it's complete, it's not showing up here anymore.
And see right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. It says PO is now fulfilled.
Yes.
Before it didn't show that. It just showed that it was saved, but now it's fulfilled. And on my side, it shows closed and fulfilled. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's all in your inventory.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, guys, any questions on the purchase orders or receiving inventory? Okay.
Hey, Dave, one comment too. It may not even need to be brought up, but if I set up a will call for one of you guys, and you just go pick up equipment, that's you still need to go in and receive that, because I'll have to create a PO for that equipment. If you don't get it in the mail, you'll receive it just like you would any other piece of equipment. If you have two of you have technicians in the same area, and you actually had, like last night, we had Paul Giannis tell me that he was helping another technician on a job, and gave him one of his hardwire translators. The other tech didn't have it, so they did the transfer. They didn't receive everything. It was perfect, but it's very important. Otherwise, Paul would have been short $60 or $50, and I can't even remember who the other tech was. But anyway, he would have got a free ride on that one piece of equipment. So transfers and receiving are really critical to keep your inventory straight.
Cool. Okay. Well, do you guys have any other questions on this? We're creeping up on the hour where I got to jump into the next meeting. So do you guys have any questions on this at all that we need to go through and review?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
What do we do about system pull?
Great question. So on a system pull, if you guys go do a system pull, let's go to an appointment here. Select this one here. There should be equipment on the job already for a system pull. So let's say you select this here. I guess this is a tough question. So I guess if you're removing equipment that is for a job that you're going to be using at another location, like the same day, you shouldn't really do anything with it because we don't want to add that back into your stock, if that makes sense. Like it's a Monotronics customer, it's Monotronics equipment, it's not ours. So in that case, You just want to take it and you want to install it, but you do not add it into security Trax. You only add in equipment that is ours. So if you add additional equipment to the job, so let's say you install 2 door sensors from the old house, but you have 1 new door sensor you need to use, you'd only add 1 door sensor to the job, not all 3 door sensors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're only accounting for the inventory that is ours. If you're using inventory that's for anything outside of that, then we need to not be counting that. And as far as system pulls go, really there should never be a reason for us to hold on to equipment for a long period of time. If you're not doing a system pull and then install the same day, I would give the equipment to the customer. So you do the pull, you give the equipment to the customer, and they have it at the next location when they're ready for us to install, whether it's us that install, you that installs it, or another tech in a different state because the customer's moving out of state. We always make sure if we're not doing that same pull and install the same day, that we give the equipment to the customer and they take care of it. And then you're only accounting for on the job new equipment that was used out of your personal inventory, if that makes sense. So, fantastic question.
Sorry, is that the same thing with that equipment? Say we replace something and the other one's bad, and we leave the bad one with the customer?
Yes, we should never pull equipment from a customer's house ever unless the equipment was ours. So if you went to the house maybe 3 weeks ago and you installed a door sensor and that door sensor became faulty, that is the only reason you would ever remove a piece of inventory from the customer's house and add that back into your stock. In which case you would go to the equipment here, you'd select the part, and you would select remove, place back into inventory, yes, and then you'd save it, and it would put that part back into your stock from the customer's home. So again, it's absolutely important that anything that is not ours, if it's really old, we don't want it. It gets left with the customer. We can do nothing with it. It's garbage. It's not like we can get a credit for it. You can't get any money for it. I mean, it's worthless. And so unless you know that it was our part within the last 2-3 weeks, we don't want it. You don't want it. Leave it there at the house with the customer. So great question. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody's patience. Oh, go ahead.
I got a question right quick. Hello.